Welcome to this month's episode of Short Clip Case Studies, brought to you by Natera Performance Solutions.
How you guys doing today? My name is Kris Robertson, and today I'm going to be talking about what is strong enough for linear speed. So what we'll kind of be talking about today is kind of the importance of speed, all right, and all its variations. And then this pilot project or this case study essentially was about a year long, right, with COVID and everything happening. And so it worked out into about 3 interventions. Then I'll talk about my decisions I made, and then finally just the take-home lessons. So first, let's just talk about the sport of rugby sevens. So from a bioenergetic, biodynamic, and biomotor abilities of the sport, it is a speed endurance sport. It's an alactic aerobic sport. Essentially, in the sport, you sprint, kick, tackle, ruck, catch, and pass, kind of the 5-6 skills that you need. Okay, but today what we're going to be talking about essentially is just speed. So here I'm just going to talk about this is just some play from our academy athletes. You can see almost every big play is preceded by a sprint. So essentially, the goal is we want to raise the ceiling from in linear sprinting, and that will raise the qualities of other curvilinear sprints, multi-directional sprints, and anything of that nature. And as simply as you can see, faster athletes, will win majority of the time. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the importance of speed. All right, so in a women's sevens national team, we see about 131 meters per game. Our 15s team now, we see about 178 meters per game. And then at our developmental level, we see about 115 meters per game. Now, you might say, well, what's really the big difference between 131 and 178? The big thing you need to understand is that in sevens, it's a 14-minute match versus in 15s, where it's an 80-minute match. So the disparity there is quite great. And so you are sprinting a lot in women's in the sevens game. So that's why it's really important that we can be faster, okay, and figuring out the importance of speed and everything like that. So what is it that we're trying to determine? So we're trying to determine, okay, what is the strength standard for speed in a female sport population? A lot of the studies out there are in male cohorts. There's not really much done in the female population. And then I asked myself, okay, is there a question whereby increasing strength will see speed be effective? So will we see a negative effect on speed? And then let's just talk about just my population that I'm working with. So I'm working with my female athletes about 16 years old, 164 centimeters, 65 kg. And at the start of our intervention, our squad averaged about 1.15 times body weight. Okay. So we did a 12-week intervention, right? And again, what we chose to do is just chase strength. We want to increase that, that ratio of front squat to body weight ratio. So we started off with we tested week 1. We went through for 5 weeks. We had almost like a washout period at Christmas because it was a break. Came back another 5 weeks, and then we did testing again. As for the methods, there's 2 weight sessions per week. Day 1, there was about 80 to 90% of their 1 RM, and then day 2 was anywhere between 50 to 60% of their 1 RM with accommodating resistance, which we used bands in this case. Okay, we had 2 speed sessions per week. Okay, day 1 was focusing on acceleration, and then day 2 was focusing on max velocity. And then they also had 3 skill sessions a week, whereas day 1 and 2 were a technical and small-sided game focus, whereas day 3 was a technical and combative focus. And what we saw after this 12-week intervention was, everyone did get stronger, some more than others, okay? And, everyone got faster with the exception of one athlete. Now, at this time, I wasn't sure, is she strong, right? But relatively speaking, she was pretty strong. She's about a 1.35 times body weight front squat, okay? And then she actually increased that to about 1.5, and we saw her speed actually go backwards. So that was just kind of just a ha moment for me. So after this 12 weeks, some athletes went on to go play tournaments, whereas other athletes, we still can able to focus on this development. So I had 3 athletes, and I was at a fork in the road, and I decided, what do I want to do? Do I want to continue going down the strength route and chase strength numbers, right? Or do I want to just focus on power? So what I ended up doing was we went 4 more weeks, right? So everyone tested here week 12, and then they went 13, 14, 15, and then we tested on the 16th week. Okay? And then the results, I had 2 athletes here where I chose strength, right? Because I was just like, you know what, maybe they can get stronger. At this time, they're just getting over that 1.25 to 1.3 times body weight front squat. Whereas this athlete here, she was already 1.3, she went to 1.5. I'm like, you know what, let me just go focus on power with her. And what was really interesting was that athletes, these 2 strength athletes, one athlete it wasn't significant. There wasn't a significant change in her 40 meters sprint time. But this other athlete, she actually got slower, and she was slower than pre-intervention. So I was just like, what's going on? Whereas the power athlete, she actually ended up getting faster, but her 1RM didn't really change significantly. So then I just decided, okay, you know what? Is this like a 1.25 to 1.35? Is that kind of the range that I need to be in? I was kind of like right? But, unfortunately, I couldn't test this due to COVID. We actually got locked down for about 6 months here in Canada. So everyone's just on body weight programs, so something that we really couldn't focus on, and increasing that strength, and I couldn't test them as I wasn't seeing them, obviously. So after the 6 months, we came back, and I'm like, okay, am I going to rinse and repeat this exact same study? Am I going to do the exact same thing and chase the strength, or am I going to do a much more informed decision? So now I just go, okay, girls, how much do you squat? You squat more than 1.25 times body weight? No, let's focus on strength. Yes. Now, when you do strength lift greater than 1.25 times your body weight, are you technically proficient? No. All right, let's focus on strength. Okay. Yes, let's focus on power. So before we actually went into a second lockdown here in Canada, we got 12 weeks of training. So I brought them back. We had a 2-week familiarization phase. So they're just getting them back lifting weights as they were doing these body weights, single leg pistol squats with loads on their back and things like that. So they got used to moving again with load. Then we went into essentially a 4-week block where, weeks 3, 4, 5 strength train. And then week 6, we actually tested. Okay. Then we ended up going back for another 5 weeks, and then we tested week 12. Okay. So the phase 2 results were very interesting. Okay. So right across the board, everyone got faster. All right. And then, as you can see, I have a strength group that was below 1.25, power group that was above 1.25. And then here's just the 1.25. You can just see the separation. I just drew a line in the sand. I said, hey, if you're here, you're doing this, you're doing power. If you're not, you're doing strength. And what I noticed is that everyone got better. So that was kind of just my aha moment where I was just like, I think I found something. So then fast forward, it takes me to this graph here. So it's inspired by Tim Suckamel. And essentially, as you can see, you have the strength ratios on the side, then you have performance capability, which is a speed in this case. So, athletes over time do get faster and they do get stronger, right? But what you're doing at these different portions of their speed development differs. So, you're below 1.25, let's focus on a strength-based program. Above 1.25 to 1.35, let's focus on power, right? And then this group here, like speed. Well, what's speed, Kris? Well, the difference really between the three groups is the strength and power groups will do anywhere about 90 to 120 meters of sprinting volume. Okay. And then in the gym, they're doing their strength work and then they're doing their power work. The speed group now, they're continuing to do power work, but their sprinting volume increases. So at this point in their speed development, I'll actually do volumes in excess of 150 meters. So my reasoning for that is I think you're strong enough to be able to handle the demands of more sprinting. You are strong. You are very strong in this case. So you actually can handle greater loads. And then on top of that too, is when the athletes get to this level, we're actually starting to transition them off to the national team where they're going to be handling more loads. So just getting them prepared. So we prepare the body to handle the demands of sprinting, as sprinting is a very strenuous task. So now I'm just going to show you just some video of just some highlights of our squats. Good. So now it just comes down to just the take homes. So right off the bat, your results may vary. I found 1.25. You might not find 1.25, right? Which takes me to my next point. Look at how I came to my result versus what my results actually were. So what I mean by that is that the way in which I ran this case study, this intervention, is something that you can probably adapt to your group, whatever it may be. And another thing is, this would change for me if I worked with a different population, such as tennis, American football, soccer, cricket, whatever it may be. But the way in which I figured out what strong enough was is something that I can, it transcends across all sports. Okay. And, in team sports, strength does matter, but speed kills. We want faster athletes. That's the name of the game. That's where we are. Everyone wants to get faster. Strength is relatively easy to do. Speed is harder to come by, right? Obviously, it can be taught. There are genetic factors, but we do not want to be, running in the wrong direction by chasing, absorbent strength numbers, thinking that it's going to help the speed side. Okay. Which brings me to my last point, which is let your speed build your strength. So essentially what I'm doing is I figured out once I get you to that 1.25 to 1.35 range and we're focusing on power, right? What I'm going to end up doing now is as I'm focusing on that power side of the equation, okay, their strengths will still go up, but it's not going to be to the same degree as if we were to just do strength training alone, right? So let the neurological adaptations from the speed help your power work and help your strength work. As we get faster, we're going to see barbell loads increase. Thank you to Alex for this opportunity to present to you guys. Here is my Instagram, Twitter, and email address. I'm easily accessible by any of those. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to chat. Thanks again.